welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
Sorry, I have a cold for the second week in a row, people.
Yeah, but I hope we got a lot of mail about that.
Good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving was quiet this year, which was actually nice.
Oh, it's the best.
Yes.
You know what's so great about Thanksgiving? People sort of say Thanksgiving, Happy Thanksgiving, like 1 or 2 days before, then it's over. It's not like this Happy New Year's.
It's over because people can't wait
February.
to put up the tree and move on to Christmas. So, I mean,
we got our tree early this year.
see?
I don't know. At work today, every email I got started with, I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving.
No, it's over. It's over and long gone. It's 4 days ago.
It's at history.
But
I think you're right, Dave. I think it's probably the holiday you put away the quickest because it's such a short drive to Christmas. So
I actually put up lights and stuff on Thanksgiving because it was like 50 degrees here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is a good opportunity because we're home and that's it. So
it's kind of interesting that you've got Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then New Year's. And so, like, Thanksgiving is like the official beginning of the Christmas season.
Not
and then
if you
New Year's,
every
you put
store,
it, New Year's, you put it in a box and put it away.
Yeah.
So,
the stores think it's September now.
Oh, I know that. But I'm saying
it's ridiculous.
There's holiday stuff out right next to back to school stuff. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, back to school clearance, holidays.
Yeah.
I had some lights that I put up that didn't work. I'm like, I got to go. Like, anything out of the ordinary, the basic strength was sold out already. Like, and, you know.
That's wild.
It's early-ish.
Well,
but
the Costco by my house
stuff
has had their holiday stuff out since, like, August.
Oh, yeah. Big time. There's a house near me who has 30 of those giant blow-ups on their front lawn.
30?
Like a 15-foot tall.
Great.
Yeah. I counted. I had to. It's ridiculous. But
yeah,
anyway.
that is ridiculous.
So
I kind of feel like that's really the low end of Christmas decorating. I mean, you know, if you do a nice light display and then you do one of those things, that's one thing. But we do have a couple of those houses too that have like 7 or 8 of them, and it's like really you just plug something in. You took it out of a bag and you plug something in.
This is it's the storage of all that crap too. Where's it going?
And I don't know if you guys have this in your neighborhood, but more and more now in my neighborhood, people are having professional companies come in and put lighting on their houses, and that's the only decorating that they do. So there's just a ring, like the edge of their house has lights on it, and that's it.
Well, I'm sure they could do more. They're probably just cheap.
Well, they're choosing not to, and we priced it out just to see how much it was. It's so expensive.
Is it? I've seen the signs.
Okay, this is not something I have ever seen before.
I'll take a picture and send it to you.
No, but I'm saying, what does it cost to have your house done, Barry?
Well, my house isn't even as big as some of the other houses in my neighborhood, and it was around $1,500 for the first year.
What?
Because they cut everything to size to the peaks of your roof.
And that's a specific thing. Is that what they do?
They do that, but then they come and take it down, and then they store it, and they come back the next year and put it back up, and it's like $1,000 the next year because, like, it's too much money. It's just too much money.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you think about the cost of like falling off a ladder and all that kind of stuff.
Sure, and my
getting
roof
electrocuted,
is steep, and I would not go
causing
up there,
causing them to have to put the nuclear override on when you overdo it. Yeah, it's.
I climb up on I put a extension ladder. I get onto the top of the portico thing on my, and then this year I'm like, there's no problem. It doesn't bother me, and I can do it. If I'm like, there's going to be a point where I can't do this, and I wonder when that is, but I don't know.
I just want to go back and reference that Todd made a Christmas Vacation reference, and I didn't acknowledge it, so thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. I will say I had a neighbor once that had like hook eyes all set up in his eaves, and it was amazing to watch this guy decorate because he had a pole, and it was like, and he had like the S hooks, and he would clip it, and it was like just. It's like this dude had it down. It was amazing, and
I like that.
And I remember watching that, and that was 20 years ago. Thinking, I'm never going to work that hard.
I'm going minimalistic this year, and by minimalistic I mean I may not put a single thing out in front of my house.
Barry, go for the 30-foot blow-up storm.
Well, we do have a 10-foot inflatable Christmas teddy bear thing. So that's easy. But even that, we have so much. I don't know what it is, and this is riveting for everybody. I know we have so much wind down our block all the time that every year when I set this thing up, if I don't tether it just right, it's constantly coming undone, and I have to re-anchor it, and it's a pain in the ass. Says the Jewish
Merry
guy.
Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
Happy holidays. I had the least amount of. There's always a bit of a fight with the lights because I'm not happy with them, and this year I'm I know exactly what I'm doing. I'll do it all by myself, but I had it planned out because I'm never happy with what's going on out there. But it is what it is. All right, that's enough of that. As we warned you last week, I think we went on a tangent about 90s movies. Today we're going to go over 90s movies. Todd will set us up when we get there. But we're going to talk about 90s movies. Are there... I think the reference was... I don't know if there's a lot of great 90s movies.
I don't think it was put
genre.
that kind. And I think it was saying there's really no good 90s movies, I think is what was said. But we'll
and I don't even remember how we got there, but we kind of stumbled upon that and decided that was this week's topic.
We'll see. I think the idea was, there's not a ton of genre movies we could have thought about. But we'll get there. So... that and some other stuff. Let's do some quick random because I don't think there's a ton of random. Yep. Todd, what do you got?
Okay. At the Fan Expo in San Francisco this past weekend, Mark Hamill confirmed that he would no longer do the Joker, be the voice of the Joker in Batman animated series. And I will say, here's a guy who can do pretty much anything he wants. I give him a lot of credit for that. This is basically his tribute to Kevin Conroy, and he's basically saying, sense. "This is without him, there's I can't see doing it," and that's great. I mean, these guys worked together for 30 years, and it was very much an interplay between the two of them, and so good on him.
He also signed thousands of autographs and took tons of pictures with people, and for the first time in years and years and years. He's been avoiding conventions and all that kind of stuff. So they were, Dave and I are in a bunch of the autograph collecting groups, and there were a lot of happy people this weekend.
And he looked good. He was in the hugging people and smiling and
playful. A lot of the pictures people posted from their photo ops, he was goofing around with them. And there was one I saw where he recreated the photo where he was on Daisy Ridley's back with a couple of people. He didn't actually get on the guy's back, but he was on a chair behind them pointing he did with Daisy Ridley. So, good. I'm glad. I think Mark had a bad experience and it put a bad taste in his mouth and he avoided it for years. And I think this was, from all reports, it looked like he had a good experience this time. So
I don't know that his issue was with the fans. I think it was with the situation.
I didn't mean to imply that it was fans. I think it was that the way the show was run, and he just didn't have a good experience at that show. But he took a break, and hopefully this isn't a one and done for him. Hopefully he'll pop up again. Even if he does it once a year. Give people an opportunity to meet him. I mean, he's charging a lot more than he did back in the day, but for people who have never met him.
But you also never hear people saying they had a really bad experience with him.
Right.
So, it's
And Ewan McGregor was at the same thing, so that was a good show.
Good con to be at if you were able to be there.
Yep, for sure. I didn't have too much. Apparently, so they're doing season 6 of Cobra Kai. They're not filming it yet. They're filming it early next year. It'll be out probably later in the year. But they just announced that Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan are going to do another Karate Kid movie. Now, I don't know if anyone saw the Jackie Chan Karate Kid movie with Will Smith's son in it. It was just a remake of it. It wasn't great.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan, I believe, is Chinese. I could be wrong in that. So it didn't make... I don't know that it made sense that it was karate. But anyway, it was odd. I thought those were two different universes. So I guess they're going to combine them into one sort of new Karate Kid. And I guess they're looking for a Karate Kid.
But is it in the Cobra Kai universe, or is it its own separate thing?
I think he's Daniel LaRusso. So
I think they'll just find a way of merging them.
I would think they would have to, right? Like that way you can bring in all the characters or whatever characters you choose to bring in from the show into the movie.
I mean, Jackie Chan didn't play a known character, right? This was just basically they took the premise.
Yeah, he's from Hong Kong.
Right, but I'm saying they took the premise.
But he didn't play Mr. Miyagi. He was playing a different character.
So what I'm saying is they took the premise and they just essentially duplicated the film. So there's no reason, I mean, it's like, there's no reason they can't interact with each other. And
it's fine. It just was, I saw it when it came out, like on cable, but I don't think he was, because he does not do karate. He does taekwondo and some other stuff. So I don't think he was actually doing karate. He was teaching the kid something else.
Yeah, but the taekwondo kid doesn't roll off the tongue the way the karate kid rolls off the tongue.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
That was interesting. We'll see. Any other random?
I got one.
Go ahead.
So you talked about the really cool convention out on the West Coast this past weekend. Well, this coming weekend, we have a very, very, very less cool convention happening. But I go to it every year, so I'm going to promote it. WinterCon is December 2nd and 3rd. You've both been to this show various years.
It's been, if you hit it for something you're into, it's good because they sort of gather groups of people from one, project.
Yeah. And I mean, especially in the autograph section, there's never more than like a 10-minute wait for anybody. It's like, it's not an overly attended show. It's not an overbooked show. I'm mainly going because the woman who played Ula in Return of the Jedi is going to be there. Going to get her on my Return of the Jedi poster. But there's some other good people going to be there. Cecilia Rose Gooding, who's playing Uhura on Strange New Worlds, is going to be there.
Yeah, that's a good get for them.
Yeah, she's good. Femi Taylor is the woman who played Ula. And they've got 4 people from Galaxy Quest, which is actually kind of cool.
That's actually, I mean, if you're into Galaxy Quest, which, I mean, I don't have a... But if you have like a poster
1990's
project...
movie. Anyways, but
that's a good thing. I mean, Todd and I got our Blade Runner posters with a good... I mean, other than... We got almost everybody. Yeah. I mean...
I've gotten some great guests there. I mean, even we had Dirk Benedict there a year or two ago, right?
Yeah, we got him. I got him.
A bunch of Star Wars guests have been there in the past. So I'm not
Aliens.
I'm joking
too,
when I put it down. I mean, I go to the show every year pretty much, and it's also nice because it's within driving distance of my house. It's something that you can walk around at for a few hours and you go home. It's not a huge commitment. They actually over the weekend for Black Friday had a 40% off sale on the tickets. So I think it only cost me $22 for my pass to get in, which was great. And right now, Cyber Monday, I know it'll be gone by the time that this airs, but they were doing a 20% discount today. So, they're making it easy to go. So your girl Gigi Edley is going to be there, Todd, by the way.
Okay.
So, anyway, if anybody's in the New York area and has nothing to do this coming weekend or this weekend as this airs, check it out.
Isn't Claudia Black
show.
there, or is that
Claudia
else?
Black's going to be there, and she was actually one of the Night Sisters in
Ahsoka,
Ahsoka.
and she was in...
Yeah, they've got a bunch of people from Farscape.
Some other stuff?
Stargate? They've got Sylvester
Farscape,
McCoy
right,
is going to be there. He was a doctor, right?
Yeah, he was.
And he was in The Hobbit. Our friend Spencer Wilding, who was on our 500th episode, is going to be there.
Mannequin Skywalker.
Yeah. And I don't know who she is, but somebody named Xena Seberg, who looks really pretty, is going to be there.
From
Lex. Yeah. I've never heard of Lex. What is Lex?
Lex was it was the thing on before Farscape. Very low budget British sci-fi, or Canadian sci-fi, I think.
Okay.
And
well, they've got 4 people from Lex are going to be there.
Well,
so.
they cycled through cast members, and it was
that's more than their fans. But there's less than 4 fans.
Yeah,
exactly.
That wouldn't be a bad thing to start a Galaxy Quest poster. Is it? Who is it? It's not Mathazar, is it?
No, he's not going to be there. But Missy Pyle's going to be there. Daryl Mitchell, Patrick Breen, and Jed Reese. All when I'm looking at their pictures on the website. They're all people you go, oh yeah, I remember him or her from.
Yeah,
Galaxy
the problem
Quest.
is Sigourney Weaver and
Tim Allen,
Tim Taylor or Tim Allen, and even the other Alan Rickman.
You're not going to be getting Alan Rickman. Yeah,
and the other guy you probably won't get.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he's a really popular actor now.
Who am I thinking of? Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell.
Yep.
That's a tough one. Well, if you want a minimalistic poster, that's a good one.
Yeah, and we'll see what the fees are this year, but usually they're not like overly priced at this show either. So, anyway, WinterCon, check it out. WinterCon.com.
Cool. Speaking of .com, check out fanboycollectibles.com. We spoke of Locutus. He's still in stock. So look, the Exo 6 Locutus of Borg is in stock.
You guys raved about that figure. That one looks good.
It's a good figure. I put it in my display case. He looks good. But Sideshow and the same thing we say. They've got everything. Hasbro and Pops and Hot Toys. Plenty of Hot Toys. All kinds of stuff.
I mean, who doesn't need a Gentle Giant Chewbacca Life Day mini bust?
Exactly.
It looks awesome.
Everybody does.
Chewbacca it's a perfect wearing
Christmas
clothes.
Present.
It's great.
Or the Matrix Trinity statue.
Yeah,
that does look cool. Yeah, a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, there's a ton of statues. I mean, we neglect. We don't really collect statues, and we neglect to mention that's probably their biggest business is statues, and it's a giant business. People love that stuff.
People love their statues.
Yep.
And they're awesome. So check them out. Statues and all that stuff. Check them out. FanboyCollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the regular Joe sent you. Don't forget.
And you know what I just noticed on their site, which I have not seen before, and I might need to buy this. It's in stock. They have a Funko Pop of the Bill from Schoolhouse Rock. The I'm Just a Bill.
I saw that. I will actually be picking one of those up.
That's so cool. I'd never seen that one before.
They should send those to all the senators and
I know someone who teaches American government who plays that, and so
it's so cute. I love it.
Yep.
That's so funny. Cool. Okay, movies of the '90s. Todd,
okay,
what do you got?
So the
we may or may not agree with what he's about to say, but go ahead.
Okay, what I'm about to say is so there was the '90s and there were movies. So. We have not worked out any sort of parameters here. There was a brief discussion of them being, within our genre. There was no hard confines on that. We're going to what you think are we going to 10?
We said we would do our and we're not ranking them in order, but our 10 favorite movies from the decade.
10 movies, our favorite 10 movies from the 90s. Not only genre, and genre is sci-fi, action, fantasy. And I think the contention we made was, and I still agree having done this exercise, there are not a ton of our genre movies in the 90s. I personally, and we could get there, I don't think I could come up with 10 great 90s genre movies. Great.
You want to start there? Because I think one of the best genre movies is in the 90s, and I think there's several there that work.
I think there's a couple. I will
say this.
So
where
ones.
my list comes from is these are all movies that I would not hesitate to watch again. Okay. And I going through I looked at 7 or 8 lists of 90s movies. I saw a hell of a lot of those movies. I probably watched more movies in the 90s than any decade. But
really,
a lot of those I don't. Seriously.
More than the 80s. I think the whole
probably. I think there's certain ones in the 80s. I think in the 80s you watch certain ones a lot. I think there's a lot of movies in the 90s. I think it probably had a lot to do with what I was doing in the 90s too. But
every single one I picked is one that if you came across it, you stop and you watch it.
Yeah. Again,
I agree with that, and I'm just going down my list because I made my top 10, but then I also made a list of just other movies from the 90s that I loved.
Yeah,
there's at least 8 of them that are solid genre, sci-fi genre movies.
I agree,
and we'll disagree.
I
about
absolutely
that.
agree,
and I guarantee I know one that's going to be on your list that we'll talk about.
Yeah,
later.
I bet you do. I bet you know most of what's on my list.
No, well, I think there's one in particular that I would argue. There's a lot of some real crappy ones here. Anyway, how do you want to do this? Do we just want to go around?
So why don't we each talk about one of our favorites?
Do we go in order, like Todd, Dave, Barry?
Yep.
You name a movie, and then we just sort of go down the list.
And
Is that how
I
you,
think
unless
there's
you
going
had
to be a lot
something
of
else in mind,
crossover, and
Todd.
If not, then we'll
Yep. Sounds good.
Who's going to go first?
And I'm just literally, I just wrote a list that's in no order by date or anything.
Same
just
here.
how I wrote them down.
See, I have them by date. I don't have them by order, but I know what.
I don't have them
the
by
dates.
date.
But like, I just put things that I'm like, okay, that was a decent movie, and that not necessarily my favorite, but there's movies in here that
I went back and sorted by date, and I will tell you, 96 is weak. But anyways,
I don't think I even. I'm looking right here. I don't think I wrote anything down from. I have one movie from '96.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's just Barry. Why don't you start? Is that
right.
okay?
Sure. I'm just going to start with probably one of my all-time favorites from the '90s and from any era, Jurassic Park.
Okay.
I mean,
not where I thought you were going to start, but yes.
Well, I'm not going by my favorites. I'm just going down.
Absolutely great movie. Holds up today much better than anything that came after that.
100%. I mean, it is a
I
classic.
have that on my list, and I
movie.
marked that as a genre movie.
Yeah, I agree. That's a genre movie.
I think it is. Yeah.
It's groundbreaking. Honestly, I don't know if I love it as much as you. I never loved the dinosaurs, just as a kid even, but it's great. I don't think it's one of my... It's not my number one. It's probably closer to the bottom of my list, but...
Okay. It's definitely not at the bottom of my top 10, but I mean, I did love dinosaurs as a kid. I still do. So, this was right in my wheelhouse, and it was the first... I mean, as much as I love the... Ray Harryhausen style of animating creatures, like what they did in Jurassic Park just took it to a whole new level.
It really did. And if Barry, did you read the book before you saw the movie?
I did not. No,
okay.
I did.
So I did, and I will say, I really enjoyed. I really did not expect to enjoy it as much as I did because I did like the book a lot. And
I enjoyed The Lost World also. The movie not so much.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, likewise. Yeah. So
okay, that was from '93, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, who's going next?
I'll go with it.
Go, because that'll be... I'll keep the order.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with a fairly obscure film from 1991, Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
There you go.
Now, that's Barry's favorite movie.
That's what I thought Barry was going to go with. I really did.
It's obviously on my list. It is probably my favorite movie from the 90s. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, talk about groundbreaking and talk about groundbreaking effects. I mean...
And
I love the first Terminator, but it's kind of like I don't want to bring up the alien thing again because that'll be a rabbit hole we'll go down. But Terminator 1 is a great movie from its era and groundbreaking in its time. But Terminator 2 took it to a whole.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that.
They are perfect analogies, though. Alien and Aliens and Terminator and Judgment Day are just perfect, and because they're very, very different films tonally. And Terminator 2 is so much more polished, and just doing a very similar thing, and it's great. So.
And I think like Jurassic Park, it's now 20. What is Terminator's 22, 23 years old almost?
Yeah.
But
yep.
The effects look like they were made yesterday, and I think
33.
Jurassic Park
33.
33. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, and the effects look.
Yeah,
it was on TV a week ago, and I watched an hour of it, and it looks as good as it ever did.
Yep.
Are you guys going with genre stuff first, or just no particular order?
No particular order for me.
You can go with whatever you want, Dave.
I'm just okay. I'm gonna shake up my order a little. I'm trying to see where I put this. I'm totally missing something. Oh, okay. My, I think, favorite movie of the 90s, I'll go with there first, is The Matrix. Again, those three movies completely groundbreaking, I think.
Right.
No doubt.
But also...
And that holds up still also.
It absolutely... And again, the same thing. Like the other two films, nothing that came after compared to
nothing is... Even the...
Yeah.
The fourth one was... better than the second and third, but just no need
great.
for them whatsoever. at all. And I just watched that on the big screen downstairs, and it totally holds up.
Are you saying Terminator Genesis isn't as good as Terminator 2?
Well,
no, you're not Genesis. You're saying Dark Fate.
Oh, Dark Fate. Oh, I couldn't even remember the name of that stupid movie.
Dark Fate is as good.
It's a judgment call. You know, it's
Dark Fate. The more I see it, the more I like it. You want us to go down that rabbit hole again?
Yeah. Barry,
we got
it's
an
time
hour
to change
to
the
fill.
subject. It's time to change the subject.
We're already halfway through, so we got to go quicker.
Okay,
go.
Barry, go ahead.
All right. I will go non-genre for a minute, but hard to dispute this isn't one of the greatest movies of all time, The Shawshank Redemption.
I totally agree.
I
have that on my list.
I'm going to go out of genre, and I'm going to say Saving Private Ryan.
I have that on my list too.
You know, it was on my list, and I had to bump it out of my top 10.
Yep.
Really?
Only because I find it hard to rewatch.
I try not to watch the first half hour.
Yeah.
I love the movie, and
the D-Day scene is absolutely brutal.
It's groundbreaking in its own way because
it's amazing, and it's just hard to watch.
It's like the most realistic depiction of war that I think we've ever seen captured on film, but that makes it hard to rewatch.
I find that of all my 10, and that's in my 10, that's why this will go quicker, because you guys have already checked off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've checked off 5 of my...
Yeah.
I don't know that I watched that as much, because A, it's heavy, it's long, and, it's not as easy to watch. You got to be in the right frame of mind.
But it also... It revitalized interest in making World War II films, and also gave permission to present a very gritty, realistic view of that war, which previously had been somewhat sanitized.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it was the gateway to Band of Brothers.
Absolutely.
The best thing ever made on television.
Yep. I agree 100%.
I'm going to go with another one, Apollo 13, 1995.
I have that on my list.
Yep.
Love that movie, but it was not on my list.
Yep.
Really?
Absolutely great. Yep.
Barry's going to have some crap on his list. I'm telling you now.
This is a hard thing because,
Barry, you want to go back to genre now on this next pass?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I already 6 of my 10 have been named.
I can go back to genre. Am I next, or is it you, Todd?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna throw it out there just so you guys can shit on me. But the Phantom Menace.
Oh, I'm not going to shit on you for that.
Okay.
There was so much build up to it, and while it, in hindsight, didn't necessarily live up to the hype, it was such an event, and I have a very soft spot. Hold up the Crystal Skulls. I have a soft spot for that movie.
No.
And I know you do too, Dave.
It's not in my top 10.
I respect his choice.
But I do. I mean, and I've said this a million times. We've done this 503 episodes. I've said it 100 episodes. Some of the best Star Wars is in that movie.
At least in the lightsaber battle.
Duel of the Fates is some of the best thing in Star Wars.
Are you an angel?
It wasn't on my list, but
I've heard the space pirates talk about them.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I do love it. So.
Yeah. So not on most people's lists of favorite films from the 1990s, but I absolutely love this film. And from 1990, also from 1991, I'm going to go The Rocketeer, which it is what it is, but it's very true to the source material, and it's just a lot of fun, and it still does hold up. You just can't expect it to be something other than what it is. So,
I absolutely love The Rocketeer, and I had a very hard time not putting it in my top 10. But
I have it on my sheet, but not on my list. But I hear you, and you consider that genre.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, I mean, we talked about it right before. Galaxy Quest.
Absolutely.
Galaxy Quest is in my top 10 of the 90s, and
me too.
It still holds up as well.
It really does.
I think it's awesome.
And it's a great movie in its own right, and it's just such a good. I can't even really call it parody of, but it's a great lens into the things that we love. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's a love letter to
Oh,
Star
absolutely.
Trek, really, and the Star and fan
there
culture.
there are parody elements to it, and it's.
I think it transcends the idea of what it set out to be, or maybe it didn't set out to be, or what people thought. Oh, it's a parody of Star Trek. It transcends that totally.
But it was a view into fan culture before there were a lot of movies doing that too.
Yeah. And it also is a good movie in and of itself.
Right. Yep.
And it really, I watch that a lot. I mean, I probably watch it once a year at least in one way or another. But it deserves another watching. Okay, Barry.
All right, not a genre movie, but one that I do love. I watch every time I'm flipping through and I see it on, and one that really, to me, was eye-opening about different ways to go out making a film, as Pulp Fiction.
Absolutely. Yep.
I mean, the way he told that story in nonlinear fashion, I had personally not seen that before. And the grittiness, but the humor, and I just love that movie. So,
I agree. I agree with all that. Didn't make it on my list, but again, I don't know that I'll always rewatch it. It's tough to jump in, but
well, the nice thing about it is it's compartmentalized into scenes, so you can kind of watch a half hour of it and then step out or join it midway through.
So, I will also say this is also a popular film. It's also an influential in a lot of ways, probably not intentional. But I'm going to go with from 1993 Groundhog Day.
I have
I love
Groundhog. I didn't make my list, but I love it. It's on my page, but not on my top 10.
Yep, me too. I do love it.
Yep.
Well, you can't have a list of movies without a Tom Cruise movie on it. And I love
Shockingly,
a few good.
I can.
I love A Few Good Men, and I will watch it anytime it's on. And say what you want about Tom Cruise, but that is a great movie that's thoroughly watchable all the time.
Yeah, and I find for me that's more of a Jack Nicholson vehicle than a Tom Cruise vehicle.
I think there's three good performances in there. I really do. I do. So.
I think Tom holds his own, if not
he does. I mean, I quote that movie on a weekly basis around here. I'm constantly asking people if they ordered the code red. So,
but
not even the most quotable line. Not even the most quotable line.
I feel that's not true. I was gonna say I feel like this is the movie where Jack Nicholson became a parody of himself a bit. That may have been Batman, but
I think it was Batman.
It probably was, but this helped reinforce it. It's like, oh, it's Jack Nicholson. It's being Jack. Like I think he. It's to the point where it comes outside the character a little.
Okay, so I have always analogized that performance to Bogart in the Caine Mutiny. Very much in the same way.
Which was way more subtle, though.
But it's way more subtle, but it's also kind of his transition from being the lead to being supporting actor. And in that way, they play very similar characters. And
I'm trying to think, but I've seen that movie a number of times. And I don't think there was sort of the Bogart being Bogart. He really felt like that character because it was so different from what he played.
You can't do the Bogart. You can't redo that.
You saw Jack Nicholson first here.
But that was the thing. But I think you expected that, and very similar thing with a courtroom drama with this veteran military person who's given his entire life to doing something, and he's very single-minded in this. And I think, like I said, I think he does an absolutely great job with it. I think.
I don't think he's the caricature of himself in that movie the way he is.
I don't think so.
Almost every movie that came after.
It was definitely leaning that way. You said three great performances, and what are the three?
What do you think of the three?
Well, certainly the great Tom Cruise.
Okay.
John Saxon. No.
Yeah.
Nicholson.
Yep.
Kevin Pollak, are you saying?
No.
I think you're thinking Demi Moore.
No.
Demi Moore was good in that.
Who was on trial?
It was Kevin Bacon and somebody else. No, Kevin Bacon wasn't on trial. He was the other prosecutor.
He was the other guy. Who's the guy? I don't even know the guy's name.
Kiefer Sutherland was in it?
Yes. I think Kiefer Sutherland does an absolutely great job.
He wasn't on trial, though.
No.
No, but he does a great
does
a great job
There's
in that.
I
think Demi Moore is
smaller
very
character
cardboard,
performances.
but he does. Yeah. I
even
think
what's his face. Now Rob Reiner directed some amazing movies, and even the other guy from Spinal Tap is the doctor in this.
Right. Yes.
What's his
but
face?
I think Kiefer Sutherland kind of shows he's a serious actor in this in a way that he had not before this.
Yeah, I can see that.
It was a good.
Now,
it was just a good cast. You really can't argue.
Yeah. Do you know that they remade the Kane Mutiny with Kiefer Sutherland? I didn't. I wanted to see it just to see what it was like. Did you watch it?
No, you don't need to remake that movie.
Yeah.
I don't watch remakes that just don't need to be remade. I really don't. I just So.
Anyway, boy, we spent a lot of time on that. But anyway, that's in my top 10.
Yeah.
Is it back to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just throw this one in. I know you won't agree with me on this one, but Clerks was made in the 90s, and I do love that movie.
I didn't see that even show up on any list anywhere.
It doesn't, except mine.
It does. And you know, it's great and what it is, and I'm going to follow that up, Barry, with another one that you guys may or may not agree with. I know Dave probably won't, but The Big Lebowski. It is so of the 90s, and it's a comfort food movie. I just love it, and I'm sure I've said this before. I had never seen that movie up until about a year or so ago, and finally was like, I need to see what all the hype is about. And it's kind of hard to see it today.
Didn't live up to the hype for me. I mean, it was fine. I enjoyed it.
That does nothing for me.
But just 30 more seconds on Clerks. I mean,
oh, sorry,
because I really didn't get a chance to talk about it at all. But
you have.
I have a million times. Yeah. I mean, look. Is it the greatest movie of the 90s? No, but it meant so much to me that I had to put it on the list. So
I see Clerks as a brilliant experiment that demonstrated something that was never fully realized after that.
But it also showed that people could make a movie that for very little money that actually
that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's no question. Yeah. So it's
All right, so it's back to you, Dave.
But this is my last one. We've named all the other ones. First Contact. That's one of my.
It is on my list, and
I think that's my second favorite Star Trek Star Trek movie, but non-JJ.
I think it is my second favorite as well.
Wrath of Khan,
and then this,
and First Contact,
and it is.
And was that on anyone's list or no?
Oh, it's on my list. Yeah, I think
your top. It's on your top 10.
Oh yeah, it's. Oh, good. I think it may have been. I think it may have been like 5 or. My 10 order got really mushy as I went further down the line, but it could not be in my top 10.
No. It was not on my list purely out of oversight, not because I don't love it. I didn't.
It's easy to forget those films.
Yeah,
because
I'm through my top 10 list.
Yeah,
I'll throw honorable mentions in as you guys named a bunch of my movies.
Keep throwing films out.
Well, are you done with your top 10?
We have named everything.
I have 2 more on my top 10.
All right, go ahead. We'll keep going around.
All right, Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the one I just missed. Yes, Goodfellas is on my list. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I mean, it's talk about a movie you can turn on at any point and just sit and watch the entire thing.
Yeah. Yep.
I've come to find I'm not a huge fan of Martin Scorsese's entire body of work, but this is a high point for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that. That was my 10th movie.
Yeah. So if we're going to go in sort of that genre, I would pick L.A. Confidential, which I've always loved.
Oh.
And it's kind of neo-noir, and it's got a fantastic cast and a lot of surprises, and I like that a lot.
So I have one more on my top 10, but do you want to throw out a random one?
Wait. I'll give you an hour. One I mentioned Could this really be my honorable mention? I just want to make sure I'm not missing something else. Groundhog Day you mentioned. Time Cop. I wanted to. It's not in my top 10 list, but Time Cop is by far the best Van Damme movie there is.
It's like saying,
but is that a good enough reason to put it on the list?
Without question, it's my best root canal ever.
I watched it every time it's on. Not only for the Mia Sara.
Not just because of Mia Sara?
It's just one of the goofy. But to me, that is like, if I'm going good genre, I still haven't gotten to 10 yet of good genre movies. And once we're done, let's count those up. But
I think with Star Trek and one or two other things that I forgot, I think we're totally at 10.
I'm not, personally. But,
you got another genre film, Barry?
I don't have another genre film, but I do have the last one from my top 10 is Reservoir Dogs.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even get that. That's a good one. I don't know if I put it in my top 10, but I do like that.
Okay. Obviously, it's dated. Okay. But I love Starship Troopers. And I can still watch that movie.
I do love it, too.
I like it. I don't think it's great.
No, it's not.
There's just something about it.
It worked for when it came out.
Yes, yeah. I had it on my
and I would actually say
list.
It was even kind of groundbreaking for when it came out. They tried some things in there which didn't really stick, but there's some cool stuff in that movie, and I consider that in the genre. There are other genre films.
Oh, it totally is in the genre.
Yeah. Okay, wait, but that's in your top 10.
We're so off my top 10 now that it's like I was responding to your comment about not being a lot of genre films. So
okay, but have you named every movie in your top 10 been named?
No. Okay.
And Barry, is yours?
Yes, we exhausted my top 10.
All of mine have been named. What's in your top 10 that hasn't been named, Todd?
In my top 10, Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, which is the best Batman movie.
Is that Kiss Meets the Phantom? That was in the 70s.
Yeah, that was the best Batman movie of the 90s, and I think that's probably the only thing I missed, and because we went out to like non-genre stuff at one point. Oh, I also have Men in Black. I really like.
Yeah, that to me is one of the ones that I would add to the list of genre movies. While it's not one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I made a list of 10 genre movies, and that was in there. But then we started going off, and I started bringing other movies in.
Yeah, I mean, The Fifth Element is a great genre movie as well from the 90s. I love that movie, but not enough for it to be in my top 10.
I wrote a list of movies in the 90s that I like, and then I came up with my top 10. But in that list, that's maybe 20 plus movies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I do have 10. But like stuff like that we didn't mention. That's including stuff like Total Recall, which is
that was my
great, but
I love that movie.
On my list.
I do
Undiscovered Country, which is another good Star Trek movie.
And I know you guys disagree, but I have a very soft spot for Generations, which was a 90s movie.
Yeah. I saw that. I did not put it on my list.
Yeah. Independence Day is a genre film.
I don't love Independence Day.
I'm just
I wouldn't put it on a like list.
Again,
really?
for what
I like it.
I like it too for what it is and what it was.
Then why didn't you get that dude's autograph?
So you got to look at it in the context of the era it was in.
Who's the guy? Who's the crazy nut guy?
Oh,
yeah.
I think of him from Christmas Vacation.
Vacation, absolutely. Yeah.
Randy Quaid?
Yeah.
Randy Quaid.
So
Randy Quaid. Yeah, Randy Quaid. All right, let's go around other honorable mentions, genre or not.
Okay.
Barry, go ahead.
Jerry Maguire.
Movies that you thought were very good.
Jerry
that were
Maguire,
in the 90s.
good movie from the 90s. It's totally not genre, but
Yep, totally.
Tom Cruise, so it's good. Yeah,
quotable and watchable.
Quotable.
Okay. Tombstone,
Is that in the 90s?
1993.
I didn't have that at all. I totally missed that. Tombstone was great, and we've established it is the best Val Kilmer movie. I think we did an episode about that.
Yep.
No, you guys didn't agree with that, but it is the best.
I don't agree with that.
You thought it was. Is this the thing that started the
Real Genius?
Willow
No, I don't think.
argument?
I don't think Real Genius or
I mean, it's Willow, if we're going to be honest.
no,
but
it is not. Will. Oh my God, it's not.
Of the three, wait, what were the
would
three
argue
movies?
that
It
might
was-
be the best Val Kilmer movie.
What is?
I think it might be. I think that might be the.
Well, of the three we picked. Well, Top Gun. I mean, but that's not as
No,
good.
it's not a Val Kilmer movie. I mean,
That was the whole. We got. I don't know what number episode that is, but we did a whole Val Kilmer.
Yeah, we
another
did.
tangent, and we each picked a movie and we watched them all. You picked
But
Real
we weren't-
Genius.
I picked Top Secret.
Did you pick Willow?
No,
Yeah.
I picked Top Secret. But we weren't talking.
Top
I
Secret,
don't think we were
sorry.
talking about the best. I think we were talking about his movies as a whole.
No, we came off of that.
Well, we realized that there were movies that each of us had at least not seen one of
And
his movies.
that was what that was all about, Barry. It was
Did
not,
that come
it wasn't
off of,
saying this was the best one? It was
the second Top Gun,
Yeah.
and we went into a Val
Yeah,
Kilmer
and I think
tangent.
it came with the fact I had never seen Tombstone.
But you said Willow was the best
And it
Val
is,
Kilmer movie,
by far.
and I said Tombstone was, and Todd said Top Secret.
I never said that was the best film. We were talking about films we hadn't seen.
Well, okay,
Okay.
and Barry still agrees, thinks it's Willow.
100%.
Oh God.
And that episode, I don't know which it is, established that Willow is the worst movie ever made.
I do not agree with that. I will
Name
say
a worst movie.
It is not.
Batman and Robin.
can't.
Batman Forever.
I-
They're
I
both
I would
worst
watch
movies.
Batman and Robin.
I would watch
on a
Willow.
loop
I would
before I'd
watch
watch Willow again.
over and over again before I'd watch Highlander 2 again.
There you go.
Highlander 2 has a nuanced performance.
Listen, there's a
By
reason they say there
by
can
the
be only
undead
one.
Sean Connery by the revived.
We have
Sean
to
Connery.
watch that. Oh, I haven't watched that in such a...
Oh my God! Oh, and by the way, these immortal Scottish people are actually space aliens.
Oh, spoilers. You didn't say
Oh,
spoilers.
Jesus.
just
I
ruined it
ruined
Wait,
for
was that
everybody.
in the 90s? I would have put that on my list. Okay. Anyway,
No, it was
sorry.
not. The third sequel was in the 90s. Okay.
How'd we get on this tangent?
I
no
don't
idea.
Oh,
know.
you said Tombstone.
Yeah, he
I
said
did say
Tombstone.
Excellent
Tombstone.
choice. Okay.
Throw another movie,
I-
Dave.
Titanic. I still like that.
Yep, it's on my list.
You don't like Titanic?
I never need to see that movie again. I saw that once in the theater. I never need to see that again.
Even the part where she's naked and he's drawing her? You always tune in
Draw
for
me like
that.
your French girls, Jack.
Yeah.
I can't watch the whole thing, but I can certainly watch parts of
Oh, I
it.
agree.
I would say
it's
I
another one
went
of
to
those
see
groundbreaking movies, and it's a little
Highest
long.
grossing movie of all time
Yeah.
for a very long time. I liked it. I got no
Yeah, I
problem
liked
with
it too.
Yeah. I went to see that with my teenage niece, and I bought the giant, 60-ounce soda, and there's nothing worse than drinking a giant 60-ounce soda and listening to water trickling for 2.5 hours. Or 3 hours.
I'll always check
3
a
hours.
little bit out when it's on. I thought they were both great in it.
Yeah, it
too.
is. But it's also, it's like I said, there's nothing in that movie I've ever felt the need to revisit. It was a spectacle. There's no question. It was what it was.
See, but Todd's
Yeah,
also
I
not
mean,
a big
even the
rewatcher, right?
Even the spectacle. Besides the spectacle, I thought the performances were really good. I thought they were both really good in that. So was Billy Zane.
It's interesting to take a movie that you know how it's going to end and make it 3 hours and still make it entertaining is no easy feat.
Yes. What I always think of with that is I mentioned this before. I saw an interview with Kevin Costner, okay, talking about Waterworld.
That was in the 90s.
Waterworld came out weeks before Titanic. And in this interview, he explained he said that what he failed to realize was that people just don't go for big epic films anymore. Within 2 weeks, Titanic comes out and blows away every single record ever. So yeah, but people, it was great. He was just sitting there. What he failed to realize is people just don't go in for big epic films anymore. And yeah, okay.
All right, moving right along. Barry, another movie on your list, but not in
This
your top
one was
10.
hard for me not to put in my top 10, but Fight Club.
Okay.
Love Fight
I
Club.
don't love Fight Club because of
Helena Bonham
Tim
Carter.
Burton.
Tim Burton's not involved.
Tim-
It's his wife.
That's involved enough for me.
Okay. I would The Usual Suspects.
Great. Love that movie.
Yep.
Kaiser Sose. It's hard. It's hard now because he's been canceled.
I think that
but
got scrubbed from lists because of Kevin Spacey.
I think so too, and that's all. But also,
That's a
again,
good movie.
L.A. Confidential was his other. I think he did fantastic in that.
So you love everything Kevin Spacey? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I do not discriminate against everyone else in the films based on his actions.
I can't rewatch that movie though. It's not rewatchable for me. If
really?
it is for you, that's fine.
Really? See, I think it's actually better rewatching it because you know where it's going, yet you see all the pieces that you didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we're doing
that's not
Kevin
rewatchable.
Spacey movies,
That's
one
the
of
next
my
one of my
favorite independent movies that it's hard for me to watch now just because of him, but is a movie called Swimming with Sharks.
Swimming with Sharks.
Great movie.
It's great.
Oh,
Great.
I had even another Kevin Spacey movie on my list. So
Jesus.
yeah.
Maybe
I'll
we
give
just
you
need
one,
to
and
do
then
the
you
best
can go.
Kevin Spacey movies as a future episode.
No, I'm not
it's the
doing that.
90s, okay? It's the 90s.
He was the king of the 90s.
Well, he was
kinda
also
was.
in what was that America something with the
American
roses. American Beauty.
American
It was
Beauty.
also the 90s.
Not on my list.
Yeah.
Creepy as well.
Yes, that one was creepy, real creepy.
I had The Fugitive.
Yeah.
Really? That's you?
I liked it,
totally
but
rewatch
it's
The
not
Fugitive.
one that I ever go back and rewatch.
Really?
Same
I
thing
watched
here.
that.
Same thing here. It's just like it was, yeah.
Okay.
All right, another quick honorable mention, and I don't know if either of you have even seen this one, but it's a movie called Waiting for Guffman. It's
Yeah,
the Christopher
good
Guest
guess.
and
Yeah.
that whole group of people.
Yep.
It's a mockumentary, but I love that movie.
I know of it. I haven't seen it.
You'd like
Tom?
it, Dave. I think you'd like it. It's got a Spinal Tap aesthetic to it.
Okay. Toy Story.
Yes, that was the next one I was
yeah.
going to throw out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Total classic.
Todd's never going to agree with this one. He doesn't like these kind of movies. Pretty Woman. Pretty
It's on my
Woman's
list.
Yeah.
It's on my
yeah.
list.
It's not on my list, but I would
It's on
not
my
disagree
list.
with that.
The Sixth Sense.
Sixth
Another-
Sense also.
Sixth Sense. I
also
could never.
It's
I
hard
can't
to go
watch
back
it
and
again.
rewatch it because once you know the
It's creepy.
Except that again, like what we were just talking
Usual
about, Usual
Suspects.
Suspects, you can go back and
you
look
can
at
rewatch
everything
it a
that you
second
missed,
time and you see it differently. But after
and
that,
everything is
you kinda know that
there.
Someone spoiled it for me, and I knew
Oh,
the
really?
first time I watched it, and Pam didn't know. And after the movie,
So
we had
you
this
sat
whole
the whole time,
discussion.
you're
She's like, "What?"
It's
Yeah.
I actually think I think it's if you don't know what you're seeing, I think it's done very, very well. It's
Yeah,
brilliant.
no, I'm not denying. I think it's great,
Yeah.
but I can't watch it again.
Yeah. Was it me?
Who said Sixth Sense? Barry?
that was me.
Barry.
Todd?
Austin Powers.
Yes.
I don't know if I can watch those.
I know,
Although,
it's the best of them, and it's
Mrs.
it's
Kensington.
it's just fun. And oh yeah, Mrs. Kensington, come on.
both of them.
Yeah.
Well, and so on my list, and I was probably going to use this one next after Pretty Woman was Wayne's World.
Okay.
Another,
Can't watch that again.
I watch that every time it's on.
Oh, really? Heat.
Heat. Yep.
Long.
Yep.
Another Val
In there.
Kilmer movie.
Yep.
And again, I can't watch the whole thing, but there's definitely parts I like watching.
Yep.
Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights also good. Yeah. Again, like I said,
Yeah.
I saw so many movies, and I mean, I'm going through, and I think I probably saw 48 of the 50 top movies of the during that era. It was just a time when you went to the movies, and it was just, and again because it's it's
Well, it's where we were in our life.
and
at
that's
that
what I'm
point.
saying. Yeah. Also, the cycle from the theater to TV was much shorter.
Oh,
Was much
longer.
And because of that,
longer, yeah.
you wouldn't see that. You wouldn't get the VCR tape. That's what we had. Didn't come out for a long time.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
by that time, they definitely told you Bruce Willis was dead. So let's see. I'm gonna go Batman Returns. We're getting far enough down there that it's
okay.
It is what it is. Yeah.
I don't have that on my list. I don't know why I have this movie on my list. It does not hold up. It's very 90s, but at its time it was good. Speed.
I think it does kind of hold up a little bit.
Yeah,
do?
what
It
it
was on
is.
recently, and because she's just adorable in it.
But it's a time it was good for what it was. It's just it gets an honorable, mild honorable.
Yeah,
mention
and my
to
next
me.
one is a mild honorable mention too, but I think it was kind of unique at its time. Is There's Something About Mary?
Oh yeah, I would
Yep.
totally.
Yeah.
That's totally
Yep.
watchable,
Yeah.
and that's still funny and does hold up.
Yep.
Okay.
And I didn't torture you with Dogma, Mallrats, or Chasing Amy. I left them off on purpose just
Thank
to
you.
not
Okay.
do that to you.
Okay. It's a little cringy today, but The Professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't really love that movie, but I wish they'd remake it with Natalie Portman now. No, we talked about
she
this.
could be
Yeah.
They should totally do a sequel where she's grown. Is that dude still alive?
Oh yeah, John
Yeah.
Rowan is still alive.
That would be amazing if she was a grown-up assassin. And
Or she's a law enforcement person tracking him down.
now,
Or she's
it'd be better
hired
if she
to
was
kill
an
him.
assassin.
What if she's
and
hired
he
to kill
finds
him?
her and has to talk her out of doing it?
Or she's
'cause it
hired
just
to
sucks
kill
the
him.
life.
That could be great.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So she's becomes his. See, but the thing is, he would have kept her out of that life.
But
But maybe there's no keeping her out of it.
there's no keeping her out of it because then there's no movie.
I know. I think she's like a profiler or something like this, and she is the one person that can track him down, and she's avoided doing this forever. And then he supposedly does this thing that's completely heinous, and she's got to do it, and she's got to track him down.
Let's turn it around. We go with my way. She's an assassin, and he is recruited by the FBI to track her down, and does it because he knows it's for her own good. They're not doing any of that.
No.
so.
Yeah, they're not doing it. Okay.
Let's call Natalie Portman.
All right, my last honorable mention, and again, it kind of took a genre and took a different look at it, is Scream. It really took a different look at the horror genre. They've made
wouldn't watch that
17
again,
million of
but
them since then, but the first
I hear
Scream,
you.
I think,
Never
holds
seen
up.
any of those.
I've seen the first one.
First one's good.
I had Demolition Man on my thing. Not that it was good, but it was.
Yeah,
too.
and
I'm surprised, Barry, that there's
The three
that was-
seashells.
I also had Army of Darkness, which is what it is, but it's a classic.
I had Contact, which I like. No one else
do not
does,
like that movie.
except for Brian Mix likes Contact. Here's some unhonorable mentions that were in when I was trying to list genre. There was a lot of crappy genre. Alien 3, I know the director's cut's better. Barry.
It is
Lost in Space, horrible.
not good.
Stargate, not great. Armageddon is probably better than all of those.
I
but
do
that
like
was
Armageddon. I think Stargate's a good half a movie.
Yeah.
much better series than a movie.
The few things I had left, The Iron Giant, which I think is great and I think still holds up, is terrific. Ghost in the Shell, which is a whole other argument, but
Not the
conversation.
Scarlett Johansson one.
Not the Scarlett Johansson one, the original. The Mummy, which
With Tom Cruise?
No.
definitely not with Tom Cruise. It's actually
The Brendan Fraser mummy?
Brendan
No,
Fraser
those are
mummy.
good.
what
Those
it
are
is.
totally
The
watchable.
first one is very good. It's very
before
kind of
the ones
like-
before the kid
Yeah.
shows up is
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
exactly.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
and it was
Is
just
Rachel
a lot
Weisz
of fun.
in that?
Rachel Weisz.
Rachel Weisz, yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
that one's a good
and,
one.
And Evan loved those movies. And
I give you that.
So that was one. And then the last thing I think I had was my remaining Kevin Spacey movie, which is really just a segue to our next segment. 7.
Seven I couldn't put on the list because I can't watch that movie.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but I
Yeah.
really put it on there just as a segue to what's in the box.
Okay, I'm surprised Barry didn't have this on his list. And in one of the articles I read, sci-fi.com ranked the top 15 sci-fi movies of the 90s. Matrix was number 13.
Are you going to tell me?
Number 1 was Back to the Future 3.
I hate that movie.
Jesus. Really?
Are they out of their freaking minds?
Back to the Future 2, I love. Back to the Future 3, no.
But they listed that as one of the best genre movies of the 90s.
That's like
the
when
best
Rolling Stone
genre
said
movie.
Zardoz was one of the best
Yeah.
science fiction movies ever
I'm like,
made.
they're out of their freaking minds.
You know, the only other thing
Anyway.
that I didn't mention, and honorable mention again for me, is Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
It's
Can't watch that
watchable,
again.
good movie, Tom Hanks.
Just,
But-
again, no, I pretty much everything on my list I could go back and rewatch.
I can't go watch that. I hate when
I can't
Jenny
go.
dies.
I can't watch that again. It's was great at its time though.
It's good for what it is, but
All right.
cool. All right, wait, let's just do this. So pick your. I think we did. We picked our number 1. Yours is T2,
Yep.
Barry. I would pick The Matrix. Todd, what do you pick?
God, I would probably. That's really really hard. I would probably go T2 also.
Uh-huh. That's probably my number 2. Yeah.
And as much as it's not a genre movie, Shawshank Redemption is just hard to not
No, there's
look
yeah,
at
yeah.
as
Shawshank
one of the
is-
best.
Shaw-
of the
Shawshank
decade.
is, but it's like the '90s low hanging fruit. It's so
like-
much
But
better
it
than
is
anything else.
that
One of
for
the-
a reason, because it is
No, but
that
that's what I'm
good.
saying. But it's so much better than anything else that's out there. It's just like
except for A Few Good Men. We all know that. So we've established that Few Good Men is the best movie in the 90s. And Val Kilmer is great in everything except for Willow.
it is just such a good thing that Dave doesn't write the episode descriptions.
Yeah, isn't it?
Because he has just a total alternate reality take on what happens here.
That's movies of the 90s. Next week.
We're going to focus in on 1991. No, I'm kidding.
That's right. Yeah.
What should we do? Movies of the 70s except Star Wars. Anyway, we'll figure
No,
that out.
we need to talk about science fiction movies prior to Star Wars.
Didn't we do that?
I know. I'm kidding.
Don't we do that always?
We also had a whole segment on early fandom, and then we were supposed to go back and do post Star Wars, and we never did it. So.
Is there anything after that? It's like once those little freaking 3.5-inch figures came out, it was all over with. It was just
ruined everything.
That's
It's
when it
just
got
everything.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. What's in the box?
Show you with the box. Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Barry, what's in the box?
All right, well, so not a huge surprise because I did text you guys about this over the weekend, but I bought myself a birthday present.
Of course you did, even though it's exactly what Todd and I both bought you for Christmas.
Yeah,
We just burned our copies.
didn't think you were buying me the signed edition of Geddy Lee's new book. I guess they released these in some bookstores, but of course I didn't find one, so I had to resort to paying aftermarket prices for it. But I've been listening to this audiobook now for well over a week. It's amazing.
That's the picture he chose for the cover?
Yeah, interesting, right? Not a great picture for the cover. The picture on the back is actually much better than the
good.
picture on the
Yeah.
front. But it's if you're interested in Rush at all, or if you're interested in just rock documentary or biographies, it's really really good. I highly recommend the audiobook. Geddy Lee reads it. He has some guests come in and read sections of it as well.
Oh, that's cool.
And then the other thing I got, which is tangential to that, so Geddy Lee's out doing a book tour right now where he's playing theaters and he's being interviewed by different guest hosts every night. And when you go, you get the book and you get this program. So this is like a playbill that I also bought off eBay. But it's got extra stories in it that aren't in the book, and it's got a few extra pictures and
cool.
things. And it wasn't expensive. But so this is sort of the add-on to the signed book is this playbill from his book tour.
That's cool. What am I going to do with a copy of that book signed to Barry? I just gonna throw it away.
If you had one, I would gladly take it and replace the one that doesn't say to Barry.
So,
All right, Todd. Now that you've opened your mouth, what's in the box?
Okay, so I'm going to do another action figure and keep this going 3 weeks in a row. Until very recently, this was the best Marvel Legends Mark I Iron Man. This is one of the first. I think it's like the Series 2, so it's many years ago that this came out. Not a great figure, but it's kind of off-sized and it's got weird joints and stuff like that.
I was going to say, if that's the best they've ever done, it's not so great.
It looks a little more like the Tin Man.
Tin Man is exactly what I was thinking.
From Wizard of Oz, but just with a bad attitude. And so they just came out with this thing, which is awesome. It's proportioned really, really well. The feet are correct proportions of hand, everything. You can pose it just like the covers. They did a really, really nice job with it. And so I'm really psyched to take him, the old one, out of the back row and move him to the front of my shelf of Iron Man figures. So
that's awesome.
They're just killing it. Some of these things they've done, and I love that they're like revisiting stuff like this. And this is part of their 60th anniversary series, and they're doing classic Cap and stuff like that too. And but just really, really great. So super pleased with it. So Dave, what do you got?
Cool. I have something I ordered a little while ago. I have the Regal Robot Urn of Nurhachi.
Oh, it finally came. Nice.
Yeah, from Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. So, yeah, they did it. Obviously, we know they did. It's a resin they painted. They did a really nice job. Top comes off.
Yeah, and Tom told me how much trouble they had getting that right color, and that it was one of these weird things where it wasn't the colors that you thought it needed to be in order to get it to look like that. So, but I mean, it looks amazing from the pictures I've seen.
Looks good. And it comes on a little base. It's got a little base.
Oh, that's great.
And it's also a little numbered plaque. It's cool. It's got you can't see here. So it's got a little, like, sort of the map behind it. The Indiana Jones map on it.
Yeah, the Grail Cup that I have has a similar plaque. Yeah.
So, yeah, they did a nice job with that. So, I debate where does that go, but I do think it needs to go next to the chicken skewer, right?
I kind of think so.
It's from the same scene, yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. I could put the diamond down there, too. I have the peacock.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Diamond. And the vial. I wonder if I should put everything down. I'm going to start getting everything out down. What else from the movie?
This is the easy way to break in, starting to display things outside of your room.
Makes all that. It's funny how many things I have from that scene. The diamond, now the urn, the vial.
Your white tuxedo jacket.
My white tuxedo jacket. Yeah.
And the giant gong.
And my red and gold
replica
flashy dress. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
Did a nice job with that. That's good. Yeah.
And they sold out super fast. I think a lot of people missed out on that one.
Yeah. They definitely should have done more of them, but they did a nice job. So that's what's in the box. Barry, you had a last thought, I believe.
I did, and this is just I hate when we end on a down note, but just heard the other day that Marty Krofft of Sid and Marty Krofft fame passed away on I think it was November 25th, so a few days ago as we record this. He was 86. I mean, my entire childhood and younger people than us have a hard time understanding that we used to have to wait all week till Saturday morning for there to be fun things to watch on TV, these guys were like the kings of Saturday morning TV when I was growing up. I made a quick list: Land of the Lost, H.R. Puffenstuff, The Bugaloos, Sigmund and the Sea Monster, Far Out Space Nuts, Electra Woman and Dyna Girl, Dr. Shrinker, and Wonder Bug. All of those were shows that I watched when I was a kid.
You had me at Electra Woman and Dyna Girl.
I know I did.
Exactly. Those are all live action, very low budget.
But so much fun. And in an era when we didn't have all the things we have today, all the Marvel things, all the Star Wars things, all the everything that we have now, this was what we had on Saturday mornings. And if you missed it, you missed it. There was no catch-up. There was no on-demand. There was no VHS even. And this stuff was awesome. And, big part of my childhood. So when I heard about that, I was pretty sad. So I wanted to at least mention it on the show.
I not only remember the theme from Electra Woman and Dyna Girl, but I remember the theme from Dr. Shrinker.
Me too.
I don't know.
And the
You
thing
remember
from
who
Land
was
of the
Dr.
Lost.
Shrinker? Who was Dr. Shrinker?
Oh gosh, I know. I can see him in my head.
He's the guy that played Baltar in Battlestar
Yes,
Galactica.
yes.
And
Oh,
was
that
one of the
guy?
Klingons. One of the Klingons in
TOS.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
TOS.
John
Kalikos.
Kalikos.
Kalikos. John
something.
Kalikos. Yes. Yeah. And Dr. Shrinker. Dr. Shrinker.
I don't
He's a
remember
madman
that
with
one,
an
to
evil
be honest.
Oh, you don't
mind.
remember Dr. Shrinker? He had the Shrinker.
I remember Land of the Lost,
It
obviously.
was it was a Land of the Lost ripoff.
Well, I don't know. Was Sigmund and the Sea Monster after you guys? I know I'm a few years younger than you.
I remember that one.
I do
sure.
too.
Oh, I loved that show when it was in its
Land of the
day.
Lost seemed like the most went the longest. I don't know. I know Tom. I think restored a Sleestack
He did.
head,
Yeah.
or a whole costume. Maybe
It was a whole
or one of
costume.
That'd
Yeah,
be-
it was a whole
That'd be
costume.
cool to have.
We have a giant shrub that has grown out of control in front of my house, and my wife calls it Sigmund because it kind of looks like.
That's funny. That's funny.
But yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Very unique stuff in the 70s.
So
Very different.
I think there was Dr. Shrinker. I got to look that up. Electro Woman and Dinosaur, and I think there was a third one that were all together. And I cannot think of what that one was. It's less memorable. But
Was it Far Out Space Nuts? I remember that was in that same.
yeah, they were all they premiered all the same time, and yeah, I got to look that up. But
Yeah, and HR Puff and stuff and the Bugaloos to me are very intertwined.
yep.
They might not have been in the same show, but I know that
The
they were.
Bugaloos was, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I don't remember the Bugaloos, but I remember HR Puff and stuff, and that was earlier. That was the
Oh, the
earliest thing.
Bugaloos were like mop top hippie Beatles type characters with wings.
Yeah. Oh, Deirdre Hall was a Electra woman, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
and what's her name from Room 222 was Dino Girl.
Jesus.
She was cute.
That's
Yep.
funny. Anyway, check those things out.
Yeah, it's all on YouTube. Go check it out.
It is? Is it? I'll have
I
to
think
check
you
out
can find
some-
it.
I think it
Elements
was
of all
Rhode
that on
Island
YouTube.
last year. There was a good Electra Woman and Dino Girl.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Yeah,
That's
there
cool.
was.
Yep. People remember that.
And I think, like, Holly and Will were at signing autographs someplace from Land of the Lost. And maybe one of the Sleestack guys.
Will Ferrell's character in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back's name, he's a police marshal, and his name's Marshall Will and Holly. I always love that.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Do you remember that they tried doing they basically did they between season 2 and whatever, they switched the male lead for the father for
father?
an uncle.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah, the
yeah.
uncle somehow came down looking for them.
The uncle, the father left and the uncle came in.
Didn't Will Smith? Not Will Smith.
No, he was the guy
Will,
from Planet of the Apes. The uncle was the guy from Planet of the Apes.
Who?
From the
James
Planet of the Apes TV
Franciscus?
series.
Oh.
He was from the Planet of the Apes TV series. And which is why I watched it, believe it or not. And it was like, yeah.
I don't.
the same
I have
character.
no recollection of that other than seeing it when it ran first run, and I've never seen it again.
Yeah.
I don't think. But wasn't didn't Will Ferrell
Yeah, there was a really bad
Lost?
movie.
It was horrible.
It was awful.
He must have a thing for Land of the Lost.
He must. Yeah, now that you say it. I'm actually
Like
on,
Margot
on
Robbie
the
should be
IMDb
Holly,
page
and
looking.
they remake it.
Uncle Jack was Ron Harper. Is that the one you're
Yes.
thinking of?
Yeah. And Ron Harper was in Planet of the Apes.
He was
the
in
TV
13
series.
episodes in 76. You're right. So that was the third season.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And as I remember, boy, this is 76. This was, and so Planet of the Apes was like 74, I think. But they worked it out that the only way you could get out, the way they
Is there
explained
someone else came back?
someone
in?
else came back in, and the uncle was trying to rescue them, and he got swapped for the dad. So
What did Dad wind up doing? I wonder.
Porn, I think.
Yeah.
yeah. Be curious to see what he did when he left, because
Yeah, I'd like to
I'm
see
looking
that.
it up
Anyway,
right now. Hang on.
Okay, I guess
is
we'll
there
do
another
that on the show.
Is there another listing there? Because
Where's Land of the Lost in his IMDb here?
I cannot imagine them
back.
I can't imagine them sitting around saying, "Boy, what we really want to do is swap the dad out for a guy that was in a failed Planet of the Apes series."
Okay, so he was in an episode of Gunsmoke before he did Land of the Lost. After Land of the Lost, he was in an episode of Barbary Coast.
Okay. You know who
He was
starred
in
in
an
Barbary
episode
Coast?
of Beretta. He was a rapist in Beretta.
Okay. Who starred in Barbary Coast?
William
Dave?
Shatner.
William Shatner.
Yep.
Yep.
He was in an episode of The Bionic Woman.
So he just left because he didn't want to do a kid show.
He was in an episode of Logan's Run TV show. Yeah, not... He
So
was in an
not
episode
his
of,
big... Not leaving that was not his big career
No,
move.
an episode of Alice in 79.
Yep.
Dukes of Hazzard's episode of that in 81. He was like a
So
one-episode
didn't do much.
guest star after Land of the Lost. So no, he went on... He was in 4 episodes of Quincy M.E. in the 70s.
That was his big break.
Probably just like went off and set and started screaming out the puppets and stuff. And it was like, I'm not working with puppets anymore.
And in 87, he was on 7 episodes of General Hospital.
Okay, yeah, that's where it all ends. So, yep.
So there you have it.
He went on life
That's
support
plenty.
after that.
Anyone under 40 has tuned out.
Yeah, no
long
idea
time
what we're
ago.
talking about.
But
Yep.
we'll talk about something.
It's not like I can even say, go
watch.
watch Land of the Lost. It's awesome. It's not, but it's
it's not.
It's of its era.
I wish I could have just like super easy access to like all, Logan's Run TV show and all that's Planet of the Apes just playing in the background, but like to go find it and put it on, and it'd be nice to have when you're like working on a project.
I did watch Land of the Lost. Did you guys watch it?
I watched it in
again?
real time. I haven't
No,
seen
in
it
real
since,
time. You
since
did.
I was a
You
kid.
guys did
Yeah.
watch it. I remember watching. It was there wasn't a lot of like science fiction at the time, and I remember the. Do you remember what the reveal was with the sleeve stacks? What the
I
secret of
don't.
the sleeve
I
stacks
remember they
was?
were scary, and I remember being scared of them, but I don't remember the reveal.
So
There was one that could talk named Enoch.
exactly. And do you remember what the thing was with that?
No.
Okay, so
Not at
he
all.
was a time traveler. Okay, the sleeve stack, and he thought he was going back in time, and it was the Planet of the Apes thing. He thought he was going back in time, and these were his ancestors, and then he discovered that they were his. It was the reverse, that the sleeve stacks were actually like devolving.
Okay.
Yep.
So he was before them.
He was before them, not after them. He wasn't the more evolved version of them. They were the devolved version of him.
Oh,
So-
okay.
But I remember that being a cool concept.
Wasn't there like some weird monkey boy?
Yes, Chaka.
Chaka.
Chaka?
Chaka.
I never liked him. Was he? He's like the bloop from Lost in Space.
Yeah.
No.
Served no purpose.
Yeah, and that show was watchable, and the sleeve stacks weren't bad, but anytime they showed a dinosaur, it was so bad. Even as a kid, I'm
Oh
like,
my
"Ooh,
God, it was
this
so
is
bad. And it's like, yep. So,
Where was Phil Tippett when we needed him?
exactly. You're definitely not doing that.
No, he was not in Land of the Lost.
Yep.
All right, that's enough. We've dragged this out long enough for you people. We'll talk another hour about it after we sign off. But next week, more stuff. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Marshall, Will, and Ollie on a routine expedition met the greatest earthquake ever known.